In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Christ is risen.
He is risen.
Today we hear one of the Gospels' accounts of Christ's miracles, where he who formed mankind from the dust of the ground comes and from the dust of the ground makes new eyes for a man who was born blind. And he who is the light of the world brings light to a man who had not seen the visible light, but gives him not only that visible light, but also the spiritual light that enlightens his soul. But having put the mud on this man's eyes, Jesus does something interesting. He sends him to go and wash. And this is taken by many of the saints to indicate the importance of baptism in our spiritual life. But there's another point here as well, that when Christ does this miracle of healing, he gives the blind man something to do in order to be healed. And it's not that the washing in the pool is what brings about his healing. He'd probably washed his eyes hundreds of times already in his life. But Christ gives him an action to undertake so that he also can have a role in God's work of healing. And if this washing in part indicates our baptism, it also indicates the ongoing work of our baptism, which is the continual repentance in which we live the rest of our lives for the continued cleansing of our sins. And so when we repent, when we confess, when we root out those works of evil in our lives that keep us from the knowledge of God, we're not doing something of our own that earns us the right to come closer to God, but we are showing our acceptance of God's work in our lives. And when we so accept it, we experience this work of God as light, which illumines the whole world around us and allows us to see it all in a new perspective. I remember someone once describing to me his experience of becoming a Christian, saying that it was like having lived up to that point in a world that was two-dimensional or in black and white, and having it become suddenly three-dimensional and colored. And he was faced then with the problem, like the blind man in today's story, of expressing this to those who don't have the same experience. And like the Pharisees, they perhaps see that there's something there, but don't understand it. Not because they've had no experience that could lead them to that, because the Pharisees had heard Christ preaching quite as much as anyone else, but because that moment of cleansing where all of the darkness of sin is washed away had not come to them yet. And so the man gives witness as best as he can, and he goes his way, and Christ finds him. Up to this point, he's known that Christ has done something great, and he's known that Christ's words are something that he needs to trust, and he's experienced the illumination that comes through that. But now, having borne witness to that, he sees Christ himself. And Christ says, "You have seen him, and he it is that speaks with you," which is, of course, a rather more remarkable thing to someone who's until recently been blind. Now, at the beginning of this gospel, Christ and his disciples continue a theological conversation from an earlier miracle, where Christ raised up the paralytic and had told the paralytic, "Go and sin no more, lest something worse befall you." And so the disciples drew the conclusion from this that the paralytic's illness was due to his sins, and coming upon a man who'd been blind from birth, they were a bit puzzled by this and asked how this blindness could be due to sin, since it was from this man's birth. And Christ says this is to the glory of God, which doesn't mean that God specially made this man blind and made him suffer this way so that he could be glorified, but that like so many of the evils which come about in this world because of its overall fallen state, this too was something which God could transform into an occasion for his glory. Because this is the glory of God, that he comes into our lives which have been darkened by sin and which are filled with the sufferings that we bring upon ourselves and that we all bring upon one another through the effects of our sin upon the whole world. And in this darkness, he shines his light and offers us the way to accept this light, to let it shine in all of our lives, and to illumine the whole world and enable us to see the one who made us in all of his glory, which he pours out upon all the world. Christ is risen.